Facebook just reminded me that exactly 1 year ago, I had taken a video, made a video of this spot walking out my back porch. I have a screen porch where I can sit, especially when I'm tired, or if it's raining, or if it's just too hot. It's a little bit of shade. It gets very hot in Mississippi. But I'm going to tell you, if you could see that video, in fact, I put it on Facebook, and everybody, oh, that's so pretty. Well, it wasn't pretty. I fell for it. I thought it was pretty too. But I'm going to tell you just a little. I'm going to hopefully be able to find the original of that video. Hopefully it's on YouTube. And I'm going to put these side by side in a post, in a blog post. Don't forget I'm a writer and I write about everything. But I'm going to kind of tell you everything I've done since then. In that first video, you see that I had built, and I did this myself. I was 73 then, and I'm 74 now. But I built this little wall and a fence with some panels behind it to hide the ugly air conditioner that was behind there. It was, I did that almost the first day. I cannot stand to look at air conditioner units in my garden. So I did that, and then I began to train things up that wall. I think I don't have exactly the same plants. I've moved things around. In fact, yesterday was the moving day, and I almost wish I had made this video yesterday. But today there seemed to be some holes. Guess what? Those holes were made yesterday, and they won't last long, so enjoy them while you can. But it allows me to get in there. Sometime last year, I planted pumpkins there thinking, well, they can grow on that wall. Well, they didn't. I barely did anything. This year, the same pumpkin vine, or one of the pumpkin vines, has volunteered itself, and it's just going to town along that wall. Last year, someone gave me these tall, they're not really elephant. I had to look up the name of that. It starts with a T. Elephant ear. I bought some iris and planted them. One of them did bloom this year, off the shoulders. I can't remember what that one is. Something black, I think. But anyway, just about a couple of weeks ago, I planted a gorgeous, if I can find that thing in there with my video camera. There it is right there. See that little bud right there? That's a Louise Odier rose. That is a short climber, but it is one of the most if this one, you know, not all roses, even from all growers are the same. The Louise Odier that I had before was the most fragrant rose I'd ever smelled. And so I hope this one will be too. Already, and there's several buds there, several buds. Oh, glorious, oh, happy day. I planted that rose there. I planted a passion flower vine. I don't think it's growing. I can't really tell because I have so many other vines growing. But I wanted to show you. This pumpkin's not only growing, it's pumpkin vine, it's making babies. And there's a baby right there. So that's this area. I planted the daisies last year. They hadn't really done that well this year. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe they just don't like all the competition. I get that way sometimes. Sometimes I resist competition. But I'm going to show you some more here. Same time I planted Louise Odier, I planted this Parfuma Earth Angel, which is another very fragrant rose. I want this spot sitting on my screen porch and walking out my door to just knock me out with fragrance. about early spring, I planted this vine behind the pumpkin vine. That's Carolina jessamine, which is another very fragrant flower. When I walk out, I'm already getting whiffs of fragrances, and I don't know what exactly is being fragrant right now. But anyway, at the video I made last year, you can see that I was very disturbed because when I looked down this pike, I could see that house over there, and that disturbed me. That ruins my secret garden. So I have worked diligently I put an arbor there. That really wasn't a great arbor. It began to tip over. Then I put all kinds of fencing and screens behind it, and then a little wooden fence on top of the fence. So I've done all kinds of things to screen these people out. Not that I wanted, if they came and visited me, I'd say, okay, but when I come out here into my secret garden, I want it to be secret. And I'm not an asocial person, but sometimes I want to see people and sometimes I don't. Look at that beautiful, I have probably 10 Super Sweet 100 tomatoes growing well in my garden, because that's a little cherry tomato that has the most fabulous flavor. They taste just like my grandma's tomatoes. They're old-fashioned flavor, Super Sweet 100. Okay, the fence here is a double layer. I really want those people blocked out, I guess, obscured. So there is a big arch there, a big walk-through tunnel, and I have my grapes didn't do well last year, but one grapevine survived, and that is a Pink Reliance, and it's another very, very I'm going to order some more and put them along there, but you know, one day at a time. So anyway, growing on this side of that, because quite honestly, by the time you get to the back of this cave or whatever cage, there's not a lot of light, because well, there's some, but not as much as there is in front, because of what's in front of it. That's why you have to plant from back to front, because whatever you plant that's tall is going to hide the sunlight of what's in front. But growing on this growing here, you see loud and clear my heavenly blue morning glories that I plant every year. This is not the little nasty morning glory everybody wants to get out and chop down as soon as they see it. This is an heirloom blue, kind of a crystal sky blue morning glory that has a huge blossom, and my grandmother grew those. In fact, and she grew it over an arch, and that left such a lasting memory with me that I just vowed ever since to have those in every garden that I have. And a lot of my garden is because of my grandmother and my parents, who just brought me up to love nature. Behind the morning glories are annuals. I have to redo that every year until, I don't know whether you can see or not behind it. Behind them you see that my Lady Banks rose, my yellow Lady Banks rose takes over. And it's behind there and growing along there. It'll grow up and over. It needs a huge amount of space. It needs something strong, and that's the main reason I put this very strong arbor there. Okay, here, that's my sundial. In front of that all of that morning glory stuff, see that red, that purplish, that's a Zephyrine Druine rose. I grow that all over my garden because it doesn't have thorns, and it's not going to bite me every time I decide to go in there and weed or do something else. There's another rose in here, but I'm not finding it right now. Like I said, this morning I came out here, believe it or not, this morning I came out here And there's a Nico blue hydrangea back there that, Lord willing, it will get very big, but I just planted it. Now, what are these tall things? Well, that is Cracker Jack marigold. See how short this little bitty marigold is? This is what most people think is a marigold. Short. Cracker Jacks are very tall, and they are just glorious when they bloom. I'm not exactly sure when these are going to bloom, but they will make a fabulous show. They're all in this. I totally emptied this bed yesterday. It had gotten so thick in here that I couldn't see straight. In this bed, this is supposed to be my lavender bed, but I got impatient. That's one of my biggest problems, and I put some other flowers in there because lavender, it's a maybe will and maybe not will in Mississippi, and I wasn't sure it was going to make, and so we'll see. That is wattle. That is a fencing, the type of fencing that the people in medieval ages built out of willow. They wove it together. See how it's woven? And made little fences. They also made tall fences and even trellises and obelisks out of it. Tomato cages. I did that. You're gonna, okay, let me go back just a second. Initially, this garden area, and when you look at, if I can find that old video, oh, you'll see it right there. Initially, I started with a network of wooden raised beds that were not deep enough. That's a 2x8 right there. So that dirt is about 8 inches tall right there. Then I came along, and because I needed more dirt, a higher bed of dirt, and began adding other raised beds on top of the raised beds. I'm not sure how tall that is. I think what you're seeing is about 4 inches above ground. So then that's full of more dirt. I have those raised beds on top of raised beds all around this area that encircle my strawberry patch that really isn't working, and it's become a tomato patch. And I talked about that yesterday, a mistake, but no, it's not, because I love tomatoes. Okay, let me show you this. Yesterday when I cleaned out, I found something that I've been looking for, this little plaque. I got that at my mother's funeral. My mother died in late, well, she died in early January, I can't remember exactly when, but we couldn't have her because it was a frozen oblivion. We couldn't have the service until later, until the spring. But anyway, at my dad's burial site, which became also my mother's, there was this little plaque that I've admired. I don't go back there very often, but this is a little plaque that says, "Come unto me," and it goes on and on and on, but then it ends, "and I will give you rest." My parents were my place of rest. My grandparents were my place of rest, and in that I'm very fortunate. Not everybody has that, but it gave me the strength and the spirit to want to celebrate life, and I do that in my garden. My dad was an avid vegetable gardener, and my grandmother was an avid flower gardener, and she also had a big strawberry patch. She also had vegetables, but at that time in my life, the vegetables weren't very important to me. In fact, I wasn't all that impressed with my dad's vegetable garden. Now I'm very impressed. But he also was a raised bed. My dad was a pioneer. He was also, what you're seeing back there are some more raised beds. There are raised beds. But I have shifted to metal raised beds because I know that these wooden raised beds are going to rot. If the metal raised beds rot, we're really in trouble. You see cardboard there. Everything that I do has a layer or two of cardboard beneath it. the cardboard becomes earth. The cardboard blocks the grasses almost completely and the weeds, and then the worms find the earthworms love cardboard, and gardeners love earthworms. They should, if they knew what they were doing. If they knew to. But the earthworms find the cardboard. They begin chewing the cardboard, going down, leaving their castings, digging in the dirt, constantly tilling the earth. And that's why you want earthworms. And then finally, that cardboard becomes earth, and dust to dust, and ashes to ashes. That's just the process of life. And in my garden is where I watch my life happening one day at a time.